everyone. My name is Kiana Rivera, and I'm the Vice President of Membership at the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, and you're listening to your Palm Beach Guide. I'm here today with Roy Assad. I will read a little bit about him. He is a professional advisor, motivational speaker, and executive coach. In 2003, he helped form the Human Capital Group, LLC. Roy's unique insight into the dynamics of relationships and his desire to share this knowledge with others is the propelling force behind successful coaching and training. Roy coaches executives and teams in uncovering key problem areas, identifying trigger points, and ultimately eliminating roadblocks. Together with his clients, Roy builds a solution-based strategy that will free them to overcome obstacles, unleash hidden potential, and capitalize on the unique talents they possess with a focus on maximizing personal and professional success. The key to Roy's success is his innate interest in people, his ability to recognize their mental blocks and inefficiencies, and his skill in guiding their personal and career development. So, Roy, thank you for being here today.
I am delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. So I know that you have just an immense background with the Chamber. So first, tell everyone kind of about your business and how you got started here in Palm Beach.
Well, I moved to the Palm Beach area back in 2001. And I maintained an office in New York and an office here, and eventually closed New York and made this my primary. And I fell in love with Palm Beach. Obviously, when you get to the area, like, I'm not going back. And so I had launched a few companies in West Palm, as you may have known. Mm-hmm. I launched 3 restaurant concepts, a women's magazine. I have a social media company. We have a coaching business. I have an insurance agency. I also am a chairman for Tiger 21, which is a high net worth individual group. So there's a lot of activity, but the Human Capital Group, which is the coaching organization, was started in 2004, I believe, 3 or 4. And we have about 8 partners who do different things in the world of coaching. Mm-hmm. And it's such a fun job, really. It's rewarding because you see the transformation in people.
How did you come up with the name Human Capital Group?
So it's interesting. We spent 3 months, 6 of us,
holy cow,
brainstorming the name. And I mean, many, many names came up and put them on a board. And we meet like weekly for so many months. And then eventually the Human Capital Group name came up by me, which was great because I take credit for it. And it's a great name because it describes that people are the capital. It's not the money, it's people.
Right. I always say, too, anytime I do a member orientation with all of our new members, you have to get to know the person behind the business. So many people try to go in cold turkey and do the hard sale right away. And then they hold up their hands and they're like, oh, I'm okay. Like, I don't want to talk to you now. They get so nervous. So what's some of the advice that you share with your clients when you coach them of just creating those relationships that are specifically unique to Palm Beach? Because where we live is incredible. It's the best place in the world, I think, especially to also do business and to create those friendships.
And there are so many opportunities here. So there's something in sales. When I do sales training, we call it don't show up and throw up. Many salespeople, that's what they do. Oh, I've been around this long and I've done this and my company is that and it's 25 years old and we have so many millions under management, and they go on and on and on. And the guy's like, okay, what do you know about me?
Yeah.
And that's really where the secret is. So we need to do more listening, speaking. And in the world of coaching, most executives or entrepreneurs come to us saying, how can I scale? Or what should I do to elevate my business? And the answer is not either one. It's who.
Who they're speaking to or how they represent themselves.
Who are you working with?
Who are you working with?
Who's your mentor?
Got it.
Who are your key employees? I mean, it's amazing how the individual makes the difference. So that's what we call human capital, because it's at the end of the day, it is who's your who.
Right.
That makes sense. You are a great who for the chamber. The chamber will not be the same without you.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
It's true.
Oh, thank you.
So is Doug. Doug is the who, right?
Right.
We're all who's in somebody's life.
Right. I think what's so exciting is that just in the past year of just the development and growth that we've had at the chamber, it's such a night and day difference. And it's all exciting. It's all exciting things on the horizon. All of the verticals that we launched and just the feedback we've received from people has been really encouraging. Sure. And I chalk it up to you as well, because you were on the board for a really long time, and your leadership there and helping find Doug and creating this new culture really set us up for success. And that's where we wanted to be moving forward. So I just thank you for that.
Well, of course, my opinion of the chamber is it's one of the best things out there today. And there are a lot of chambers. There's an airline that used to say, well, we know you have choice of flying different airlines, but we're glad that you flew with us, right? So the Palm Beach chamber, which specifically in the Palm Beach at the Breakers,
right,
probably is the most valuable tool for anyone to belong to. I feel like I'm there in a family atmosphere, even though there's 400, 500 people in the room.
I know, it's huge.
You go often. They say don't go wide, go deep. Don't go and belong to 15 different organizations. Stay in one or two and really work with them.
Right. I think, too, something I appreciate, because you are a table sponsor. You've been a table sponsor for a long time. I know how you fill your table with people intentionally. And I try to stress that to all my table sponsors. I always say, make the most of your table, invite new guests, really bring them into the fold. And I feel like you've done a good job of that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never have enough space for
that's
people.
the thing.
My challenge is, how do I maintain just 8?
Right.
I've never had an empty seat. And I know that a lot of tables we should probably do a training on exactly how to fill your table.
I think I'm going to do that for next season.
Because in reality, there's a secret and there's a method to this madness. And I know people that have 2 people at it.
I know.
What are you doing?
Exactly. Yeah. Me too. I think that's a great idea moving forward, because I have the tables that fill every month, and then I have the 2 or 3, or sometimes they're totally empty, and I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Help them out.
What is happening? Help them out. Exactly. So real quick, you are listening to Your Palm Beach Guide, and we are with Roy Assad with Human Capital Group. And so, Roy, kind of walk me through your ventures in the restaurant field. How did you go from coaching to then restaurant business?
So when I moved to West Palm, I worked right on Clematis, and I'm an Arab. My background is Syrian, and I love Arabic food, obviously Middle Eastern food. And New York was full of those restaurants. So we used to kind of frequent all of those. When I got here, there was nothing.
None.
I'm saying, I got to have a place to eat. So
I'll just create it.
I thought I would build a sandwich shop, something where you can hummus and baba ganoush and all that stuff. But it turned into a restaurant, and that was Layla. That was in 2004. Today, Layla celebrates its 20th anniversary.
Wow,
today.
20 years.
20 years, and that's rare for restaurants.
Exactly.
That restaurant hit it out of the park from the day we opened. And of course, I don't know if you remember, if you were here, Dixie was completely under construction. So was Olive. We had to put a red carpet over the dirt for people to walk over, but we still made it, right? Then I took a bath in another concept right on Clematis, where Rocco's is today.
Okay.
And it's called L'Opéra, which is a French restaurant, but it was very high-end and way before its time. That was a disaster, if I can say that, but that was my MBA.
Okay.
And I've learned a ton from that experience.
How would you encourage people who especially just they have those failures in business and then they give up? I feel like you've been able to go to new heights, and you've been able to take the lessons you've learned and move forward. People hit that roadblock. Does that loop into your coaching and how you encourage those entrepreneurs that, might have dried up?
Yeah, you got to be crazy.
Yeah.
To be an entrepreneur to start with. Because it takes a lot of guts. But they say, what do they say? If you hold on to the trunk, there's no fruit. That's why you go out on a limb, right?
Right.
That's where the fruit is. But the rear view mirror is very small, and the windshield is quite big. And there's a reason for that.
Right.
That means get over the past, right?
Right.
You've had a mistake. You've made, you screwed up. So what? Let's go on, right? You move forward.
Right.
You pivot, you do whatever you have to do. So you can't allow the past to pave your future.
No, that's amazing. And I think too, people forget that all of the small steps you take end up leading to that one big step. And most of the time you don't know where you're going. Actually, I would say all the time, you have no idea where you're going. You can plan as much as you want, but it never works out. They say, you tell God your plans and he laughs or something like that. And I'm like, that is so very true. That is so, so very true. So tell me a little bit just about your team, how you have orchestrated your team to be so successful and supportive, and how you've maintained your team for so long. Because you have some people that have been there who have been with you for a long time. Yeah. That's meaningful, especially nowadays. Yeah.
There's the coaches, and then there's the support.
Right.
The coaches are an unbelievable collection of amazing coaches who are on our website, and they specialize in something different, although we have overlaps, right? But they are been chosen basically and curated, if I can say that, to belong to this Human Capital Group website.
Right.
So we support each other, we refer each other, we collaborate, we meet once a year for lunch, we have quarterly Zoom meetings because one of them is in New York and one is in Michigan.
Oh, so it's national.
Yeah.
Great.
And some of them are very, very well established. And some are fairly new, which we love to support, right? Now, the support team, the people that allow me to be who I am, are just unbelievable. You met them both.
Right.
And I've gone through 20 probably different assistants through my professional life. All of them are in touch. I should really do a reunion for them.
Well, yeah, and you maintain that relationship as the years have gone by.
Amazing. They either got married, they had kids, they moved out of state.
Right.
And it's pretty interesting.
I think that's incredible too, because you've built a culture where people feel comfortable with you and they feel supported as well. So like they will bend over backwards for you in order to, grow their own career. And then I'm sure that they're all in the office just soaking up everything you're saying, just as a sponge.
And we celebrate when they leave.
Good.
Because they're leaving to something bigger, better,
right.
or maybe launching their own business, right?
I say that is one of the most important things about leadership is being able to celebrate when your team member has found something
is ready
else.
To move on.
Yeah, they're ready, and you're like, pave the way. You've paved the way for them. So I think that's one.
And sometimes wonderful. We tell them that,
and you're like it's time to
go. I can't teach you any more things.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So back to the coaching world. How do you differentiate? Because I feel like everybody nowadays is a business coach. They're an expert at everything. And how do you kind of weed through the people who are just kind of like blowing smoke and the people who actually know what they're talking about?
As far as the clients?
Both. I think like your coaches and then clients as well. Just because I feel like you can throw a quarter and hit a coach these days. It's like everybody wants to do it.
Yeah, it became a very attractive profession.
Exactly.
Not many people are very qualified. And some are certified, some are not. Some have only...
What's that process of getting certified?
It takes about a year or two, depending on what kind of certification you want to get.
Holy cow.
And the certification doesn't mean that you're a great coach.
Right.
It just means you got a certification, right? But the best coach is the one who's been there in the trenches before he got to you.
Right.
Or she got to you. Because at the end of the day, it's the experience that matters. It's not just about it's the graduation, it's the education. So we've written the book, if you will. So when a coach, like for example, we charge a certain fee per hour or per month or whatever, and then the other coaches are like doing it at a third of the rate. And people say, well, what's the difference between you and that coach? I said, aren't you curious?
Right.
That's it. We do things differently.
Right.
We come up with results. We don't have contracts. People, if they're not happy after 30 days, they should leave us.
Right.
Which they never do. But the idea is we don't hold people hostage
to
a program of 6 months or a year or so many hours.
I think that's great. You give them the freedom, and then you produce those results so people naturally stay, which is different.
And then when we say to them, I think you're done.
Right. They're like,
are you firing me? I'm like, no, you're graduating.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
I want you to share, I attended one of your presentations that you hosted at AKA a couple months ago. Not even, it probably was a year ago. It feels like a couple months. But you shared this story about an alligator in a pool. I would love for you to share that with everyone else.
The story goes that this very wealthy man who decided to invite a lot of his good, close friends to kind of see how much he's achieved, what kind of assets he has. So he got 6 Humvees and got them all in the cars and drove them around, showing them his tennis courts and his rolling hills and professional golf course. I mean, the guy was showing off.
Right.
Finally, he gets them all up to the house, and the house is completely beautiful, lit up like in the sunset time. And there was this huge Olympic-sized pool right in front of the house. And people couldn't help but notice that there's a few alligators in it.
Oh, a few, not just one. Okay,
yeah,
a few.
Oh, yeah, no, a few. And they're like, John, what's this? Why are there alligators in the pool? He goes, well, it's a reminder to me that I had to take risk in order to get to where I am. So, by the way, if any of you are willing to swim from the beginning of the pool to the end, you can have anything you want. Everybody, of course, laughed, go up to the house, and they're having a champagne and whatever. But there's a little bit of noise. Somebody jumped in. And he's stepping on the alligators, bypassing the alley. He makes it to the end. He's completely drenched wet, 3-piece suit with wingtip shoes. And the owner goes, "Oh my God, what can I give you? What do you want?" He says, "I want to know who pushed me." So the reason we say that is because they say even eagles need a push. We sometimes are getting rested. You know, they call it the summit syndrome. You know, you get to a place and you feel, "Oh my God, I'm accomplished."
Right.
That's not where we end. We
Right.
continue on and we reached another summit. So we all need a push. And that's what coaching is. It's pushing you forward and holding you accountable and giving you some ideas and strategies on how to create a bigger and better.
Well, and I think too, encouraging your clients not to get stagnant. You know, like you said, it's that push. And so many people, whether they're accomplished or not, and they're in a different season of life, they're just starting out or they're about to retire. It's like, "Oh, you know, I've done this before." And circle and circle and circle. And then you're like, no, keep going. Like there's something that you could be doing, whether it's helping others or even just growing your own education. There's something for you to be doing.
Yeah. There are principles that they have to live by. But, you know, there are different coaches use different methodologies. For example, in the world of coaching, you're not really supposed to tell anyone anything. You're supposed to say, "Well, what does that feel like? What do you think we should be doing?" You know, never like suggesting. I'm the opposite.
You're like,
I have a brick in my hand and I've hit them on the head and say, "What are you thinking?" Because at the end of the day, they need that authority to get them to move forward instead of like decide at one point what they want to do. I help them really get past all of that and create a plan so that they can stick to it and we hold them accountable and then the results show up.
wow, I love that. Well, Roy, thank you so much. Again, you're listening to Your Palm Beach Guide. We are with guest Roy Assad with Human Capital Group. And thank you for being here.
My pleasure, and hope to see everyone at the chamber meeting.
Yes.
Awesome.